This is Mr. Gillum, and today we're going to use some problem solving skills, and we're going to look at circle graphs. Okay. Before we get started, basically what a circle graph is that it's a pie chart. And here's an example down here in the bottom left hand corner. Okay, this is a pie chart, and each pie chart has a sector. Our circle graph has a sector, it's a slice or percentage of the data. And so this pie chart in particular has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 sectors. There's 6 sectors to this pie chart, and it's just a sector is what it's divided into. Okay, and all the sectors should add up to 100%. If you add 12 and 16 and 10 and 33 and 29, you should add up to 100%. Okay, so let's go on here. This is a pie chart, and it says that the teenage participation in sports, and this is out of 200 people. What I want to know is what percentage of teenagers play basketball. So if 12% play baseball, 17% volleyball, 16% softball, 16 soccer, 11 football, I need to know how many play basketball. We have 12 for baseball, 17 for volleyball, 16 for softball, 16 for soccer, 11 for football, and we don't know what basketball is. So we better figure out how much this is, and the rest of it must be for basketball. So when you add the numbers together, 12 plus 17 plus 16 plus 16 plus 11, I come up with 72. 72% play the sports. Now, what we're missing is the rest of the 100. So what I can do is I can take 100 minus 72, and I know that's 28%. So 28% of the students must play basketball. Now here's where things get a little tricky. Because we surveyed 200 teenagers, just because that 28% of the basketball or of the teenagers play basketball doesn't mean that 28 teenagers total play basketball. That's not quite it. If I want to know how many teenagers play softball, and I know that 16% of teenagers play softball, and I surveyed 200 teenagers, I need to do this. I need to figure out what 16% of, in math that means multiply, 200 is. And so a percent as a decimal is really 0.16 times 200. That's how I'm going to find the number of softball players. And when I take 16.16 times 200, I get 32. There are 32 teenagers playing softball. And similarly, if I want to know how many teenagers play football, and I know that 11% of teenagers play football, I know that 11% of the number I surveyed, 200, should equal the number of players. 11% as a decimal is 0.11 times 200. When I multiply 0.11 times 200, I get 22. There's 22 teenagers that play football. And if I want to know how many teenagers play soccer, same idea. I'm going to take my 16%, and I know that's 16% of the 200 teenagers play soccer. So I'm going to take 0.16 times 200 for the soccer players as well. And I already did that for the softball players. They had the same percent. I know that that is 32 soccer players. And finally, how many teenagers play volleyball? I'm going to do the same thing. I have 17% of the 200. So 17% of 200, I know that's 0.17 times 200, which is going to be 34 teenagers play volleyball. Okay, so that is how to figure out the number of players or the number of something. You have to look at the number surveyed or the number they're talking about and multiply. Now, this is a pie chart. Okay, and in the circle graph, it says that each portion of the circle graph represents a percentage. I want you to tell me what an accurate percentage is for each part of the circle graph. So the one that sticks out to me right away is this blue sector in the top right corner. And I feel like this blue sector is about a fourth of my whole circle. So I'm going to say the blue sector is 25%. And then I'm going to go over here. I'm going to say, that's interesting. This guy right here looks like about another fourth of my circle, but it's separated into two about even colors. So I'm going to say that each one, if this is 25% total, each one of them must be 12.5%. So total so far, I have 25 plus 25, that's 50%. So I have another 50% to make up out of these three. To me, this sector looks like about a third, about 33%. Let's just make it 34%. I think that together these make 34%. And they look like they're about the same size. Maybe one's a little bigger. So I'm going to say that this one's maybe 20%. And that means this one has to be 14%. So that means I have another 20, that's 70%. And I have a 14, that's 84%. So it looks like this last one is going to have to be 16% because our total has to add up to 100. And if you look, it looks like that peach color is a little bigger than that green color. So it's not bad and a little smaller than the blue. So we did a good job. We've accurately given percentages of this pie chart or this circle graph. Okay.